Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Chiranjit Mishra and today I'm going to discuss the news items of April 13th News Today. There are 4 main news and 7 quick updates. Let's quickly go through the news headlines. The first main news is about a statement made by the Honorable Chief Justice of India, that is access to justice. Access to justice remains the biggest challenge. It's not about the lack of adequate number of laws, but access to justice. The second main news is about Indian Ocean must prepare for turbulent global order. The third main news about climate shocks worsening poverty across India. This is as per a NISA study. And the fourth main news is about a rise in insurgency in the northeast, taking into consideration the fact that 7 individuals associated with an Assam-based terror group were arrested in Tinsukia. Let's quickly go through the quick updates. The first one is about whip in Parliament. Whip is both a post and an instruction, okay, related to a political party. So this particular news is in the context of the recent women reservation quota issue, and many political parties want full presence of their members in the Parliament. The next quick update is about Hubble tension. Hubble space constant is related to the expansion of the universe. So a new methodology was adopted using which we reached at a new Hubble constant value, and the tension is between the differences in the 2 different types of methodologies followed to find out the constant. The third quick update is about the United Kingdom's plan to transfer sovereignty of Chagos Island to Mauritius. It has been stalled because the United States has intervened. It's a very interesting piece of news. Next quick update is about the Dustlik military exercise, DUST-LIK. It is between India and Uzbekistan. So armed forces of both the countries will take part in mock drills and other related exercises. Next, cheetah gives birth to 4 cubs in Kuno. As you know, Indian cheetah is extinct, so we had to rely upon cheetahs, slightly different subspecies brought in from different countries of Africa, and one such cheetah has given birth to 4 cubs. Kuno National Park is in Madhya Pradesh. The last quick update is about project Him Sarovar. This is a project which aims at ensuring availability of water in Ladakh. Now let's discuss the news items one by one, beginning with the first main news, which is Indian Ocean and geopolitics. Okay, so recently External Affairs Minister, he attended a conference in Mauritius, and he re-emphasized the importance of Indian Ocean, which is not just a geographical entity, but is very important from the point of view of international relations. As you know, the ongoing war between Israel and Iran, Israel, United States and Iran, it's actually, it has brought into the fore a strait called Strait of Hormuz, which is a part of the Arabian Sea, and Arabian Sea is a part of the Indian Ocean. Okay, this is one of the major choke points. Choke points are those points related to water bodies which play a crucial role in the movement of goods, international or flow of goods from one country or one continent to the other. Another such choke point is Strait of Malacca. So these choke points are called so because they can be under the control of certain countries or nations, and which in a way can affect global trade if they set strict rules and strict laws, and they disallow other members to let their ships pass through these points. Then that can create supply chain disruption. So in this context, the importance of the Indian Ocean region was re-emphasized. Okay, he's laid down 5 principles, and he said that such turbulent times are going to be more frequent, because this Israel-Iran issue is not an isolated issue. It can trigger many other issues in the coming years. And people also discuss China and Taiwan. Okay, although that is related to Pacific, but if we consider all the oceans as a single aquatic entity, then that heightens the importance of Indian Ocean as a part of the 5 mega oceans of the world. So Indian Ocean is the third largest ocean, and it accounts for nearly 80% of India's oil trade, and it also plays a significant role in the global trade, especially between Asia, Europe, and Africa. So the five principles that he has laid down are about regional cooperation, connectivity, resilient supply chains. Supply chains means each level or each stage of production is linked to the subsequent stages, and the chain that forms because of this interlinkage between different stages of production, starting from manufacturing to other value chain stages, it becomes one single chain, which is called supply chain, which forms the backbone of logistics. Ensuring maritime security, okay, and maritime security is not just about these nations which are involved in this particular war, but also about piracy. Okay, you must have come across several incidents related to piracy in the Horn of Africa region. Okay, that especially Somalia. So maritime security, promoting inclusive and sustainable development. So these are the five pillars that can guide a secure Indian Ocean. So whatever, because what you must have heard about this term called rules-based order. Rules-based order, that means the relationship between two countries or more than that are governed by certain rules and a broader framework. Together they form rules-based order. And now you must have seen the United States is backing out from different global bodies. Many countries have started looking inward. Okay, now there is a trend which can be aptly called counter globalization. So these trends are against what we can call rules-based order. So External Affairs Minister of India, he said, now the times are going to be more turbulent and we have to be prepared for that. We means those countries to which Indian Ocean does matter. Okay. So let's briefly go through the facts related to Indian Ocean region. This is important from the point of view of prelims. And whatever we discussed earlier, it's not particularly important from the point of view of prelims, but mains. The world's third largest ocean, the first one being the Pacific and Atlantic, covering 20% of Earth's water surface. It is the only ocean named after a country, Indian Ocean. Okay, so that also shows how important India is when we discuss international relations. India's cultural links with Southeast Asia. In ancient and medieval history, you must have studied about Sri Vijaya Empire and Chola expeditions, okay, to Southeast Asia. So there has been a continuity. Okay, there was no break. It has been very continuous. The trade relations between India and the Southeast Asia. And for that, Bay of Bengal, which is again a part of the Indian Ocean, played a very crucial role. 75% of the global trade. It is a critical hub for global trade. 80% of India's oil imports, as I mentioned in the beginning, and hosts key choke points like Malacca Strait and Strait of Hormuz, and also Bab el-Mandeb. Bab el-Mandeb, it is targeted by another terror group, which is called Houthi. Okay, and Bab el-Mandeb connects Red Sea to Arabian Sea. Okay, or Gulf of Eden, you can say, because gulfs are parts of seas and seas are parts of one big ocean. So when I say Hormuz, Hormuz connects Persian Gulf with Arabian Sea or Gulf of Oman. Both are correct. What initiatives have been taken to promote security in the region by India? Sagar, okay, security and growth for all in the region, which was initiated in the year 2015. Okay, it was slightly narrow in vision. Now Mahasagar, which is more comprehensive, it is built upon Sagar, holistic advancement for security and growth across the regions. Okay, so it also invites proposals from all other stakeholders, the countries which share border with the Indian Ocean. Act East policy, not exactly about Indian Ocean region, but also because Act East means we have to look towards East. So that includes all the Southeast Asian members, Japan, China, Korea, everything. And Southeast Asian countries, they share border with Indian Ocean on one side and the Pacific on the other. Indian Ocean Rim Association, or IORA, UPSC had asked a question on IORA. That time it was called IOR-ARC, Regional Cooperation. This term has been removed. Now it is just called Indian Ocean Rim Association. It was established in 1997, and this initiative was taken by the erstwhile president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. Its headquarters is in Mauritius, Ibn. Currently, it has 23 members, and it targets economic cooperation, sustainable growth, lower barriers, or free flow of goods. Okay, that means what we call choke point should allow the ships of different countries to pass through. Okay, and this conference where Honorable External Affairs Minister made this statement, it was held in Mauritius, and it is called Indian Ocean Conference, not IORA. Okay, and this conference was launched by India Foundation. It's not very important, although it is highlighted, but this is an important association. Let's go to the question that was asked with reference to the Indian Ocean Rim Association for Regional Cooperation, IOR ARC. Now the name has changed. Consider the following statements. It was established very recently in response to incidents of piracy and accidents of oil spills. Now recently, no, not recently, because 2015, if the question was asked in 2015, recently means 2010 onwards, we can say. Okay, it's a very subjective term. But as you know, it was established in 1997. That's why this statement is wrong. It is an alliance meant for maritime security only. Not for maritime security, also for economic cooperation, free flow of goods, as I said. Only statement, okay, only word, be very careful. So both the statements are incorrect. Climate change and poverty, another important piece of news, mainly important from the perspective of mains exam, okay. Nothing related to prelims, but as climate change and poverty are two important pillars that come under SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, sometimes important SDGs can be asked about, starting from the first SDGs, no poverty. Okay, first, no poverty. That is your SDG 1. And climate change, taking concerted effort to combat climate change, it comes under SDG 13. So these two SDGs are very important as regards this news item. Okay, so it's very natural. I think there is no doubt about the link between climate change and poverty. Climate change is going to affect the vulnerable sections more or disproportionately badly. Why? Because climate change affects agriculture. Agricultural systems are affected, and when agriculture is affected, food security is affected. And those who are poor, they cannot afford if there is a hike in the food prices. There's a direct link. Apart from that, livelihoods. Farmers who themselves are consumers also earn livelihoods through agriculture. And when agriculture fails, their income suffers. Okay, so there is a direct link. Let's see what the NISER study. NISER is actually, I think, National Institute for Scientific Education and Research. It comes under Department of Atomic Energy. And it is based in Odisha. So it conducts several programs and PhD programs and postgraduate programs. Many of you must have also appeared for the entrance exam to get admission in NISER. So as per the report, climate shocks are directly heightening this problem or challenge of poverty. And it conducted a survey across 593 districts. So today we have close to 700 districts, 593 and 21 states. Poverty increasingly linked with climate change, climate vulnerabilities. It is under Department of Atomic Energy, as I said in the beginning. So floods damage crops, homes, infrastructure. Okay, these points are very important from the point of view of mains again. Repeated losses trap people in recovery cycles. Drought causes crop failure and rising debt. So year after year, if a particular region experiences floods or droughts, that means agricultural productivity will come down. If farmers have taken loans for boosting their agricultural productivity, they will not be in a position to repay. Why? Because crop failure directly affects their income, and you need money to pay back loans. Agriculture dependence increases vulnerability. So one suggestion is also, you can see two things. We have to do two things. First, we need to promote climate resilient agriculture. Even if climate change is taking place, agriculture won't be affected. Point number one. Okay, climate resilient agriculture. And number 2, alternative livelihoods or alternative sources of livelihoods. That means, because there is this phenomenon called disguised unemployment, we don't need that many farmers. Even limited number of farmers can provide us enough food. So we can discourage those farmers who are not causing any kind of value addition to move away from agriculture and join other sectors, okay, so that they can also have this safety net, because agriculture is very mercurial in nature. It is totally dependent upon weather and monsoon in India. Tribal populations highly vulnerable due to climate shocks because they depend upon forest resources, okay, and as you know, wildfire can destroy forests, so their livelihoods can also be affected. Higher poverty likelihood among scheduled tribes. So these are not difficult points to understand. Way forward, adopt district specific policies based on vulnerabilities, move beyond one size fits all approach, okay. This is very important because different regions in India have different challenges. Maybe a particular region is flood affected, other regions are drought affected, okay. And we also have to understand the demography of a place. Which region has more number of scheduled tribes, okay, so that we can have targeted schemes. Strengthen NAPCC, SAPCC, so National Action Plan for Climate Change, the state counterparts, and SDG index implementation, promote drought resistant crops and resilient agriculture, improve irrigation and water management. There is a related news also, project Himsarovar in Ladakh, which is a related news because climate change is also affecting water availability in that region. Expand non-farm employment opportunities. I cited that example, project Himsarovar, because of this. Invest in disaster resilient infrastructure and policy integration. So nothing to make you understand, simple English. The third news is about insurgency in the Northeast. Okay, it has always been there. Insurgency means using arms and ammunition to meet your aspirations, especially of having a separate state or nation, okay. You can, if you want, or many people want, for a different state to be formed from an existing state, you have two ways. Either you can go for peaceful protest, or you can open a dialogue with the state, ki these many people want a different state, one way. Or I am not suggesting these approaches, these are the existing approaches, okay. The second is violent and it is illegal. So insurgency means insurgents are illegal entities who use violence to meet their state related goals. They demand a separate state, a separate nation, for example, Greater Nagaland or Ahom or Greater Assam. These are various demands. People are not happy the way the political boundaries of the present and northeastern states have been created. They're not happy with that, okay. And as you know, there are 8 northeastern states. These are the 7 states. They share boundaries with each other, and this one is isolated, which is called Sikkim, okay. It shares border only with West Bengal. So recently 7 people have been arrested with a terror group which is called ULFA, United Liberation Front of Assam. The spelling is ASOM, and you need not remember the name of this organization. It is a terror group. UPSC never asks questions about terror groups. It can ask about challenges related to insurgency, but you can cite examples, but don't expect questions from ULOF or other such insurgency groups, okay. Northeast insurgency, what are the challenges? Why? The most important challenge is its geographical location. See, it is connected to the mainland India through a corridor which is called the Chicken Neck Corridor. As you can see, this is the Chicken Neck Corridor, okay. Second, diversity. There are diverse ethnic groups and they have separate demands. One ethnic group believes that the other ethnic groups are aliens or foreigners, they should not stay with us, okay. That is what led to the clash between the two groups in Manipur, okay. So Northeast insurgency involves, that was not an insurgency, it was a civil war and normal people fight. Okay, but this is also a manifestation of insurgency, very closely related. Northeast insurgency involves armed groups seeking autonomy. Armed groups seeking autonomy, that is insurgency. Region has 8 states with high ethnic diversity, rooted in ethnic, political, economic grievances. Over 200 ethnic groups, and there are many other linguistic groups, different tribes. Okay, demands include autonomy, independence, and special rights. What are the causes? Economic backwardness, political alienation, porous borders. As you know that northeastern states share border with different states starting from Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh. So many terror groups also find safe haven in these neighboring countries. So they can operate from there. Illegal migration creates demographic tensions. What are the measures taken by the government? There are 2 types of measures taken by the government. One is direct and one is indirect. Direct is also of 2 types. One is resorting to force and the other is through dialogue. सीधा सीधा बात करना या फिर using central armed police forces, Sahastra Sima Bal, Assam Rifles, okay, to trample down. Indirect economic development, infrastructure, promoting intercultural linkages, mainland India and northeast. Okay, so these are the various steps taken by the government. If you want the precise answers, let us go through. First is, as I said, Assam Rifles. Assam Rifles is that central armed police force which guards the border between India and Myanmar. CAPF deployed in insurgency areas. There is another CAPF which is called SSB, Sahastra Sima Bal. These forces guard the Indo-Bhutan and Indo-Nepal border. Assam Rifles guard India and Myanmar border. Okay. Operation All Clear. It was a temporary operation to dismantle Indo-Bhutan insurgent camps. Then Operation Sunrise. It targeted cross-border insurgents in Myanmar. India cooperates with Bangladesh, Myanmar, because the terror groups find safe haven in these countries. You have to seek their cooperation also. Together we can destroy, dismantle these terror groups. Focus on curbing arms trafficking and militant movement. And there is also involvement of Pakistan. Okay, many believe Pakistan also Pakistan tries to exploit this particular situation in the northeast region. Mizo Accord, another dialogue, Bodo Accord, and over 1500 militants surrendered under peace accords. Okay, accords mean there is an open dialogue between the central government, the state government, and these insurgent groups. Okay, that is the best way to manage, because you cannot treat violence with violence. Okay, NSCN, this is seeking Greater Nagaland, that also had a discussion with the government during the lockdown, I guess, and ceasefire has been extended till 2023. So in mains exam, a question was asked. The northeastern region of India has been infested with insurgency for a very long time. Analyze the major reasons for the survival of armed insurgency in this region. We have already discussed the important points. The most important point is geographical isolation, diversity, historical backwardness. Okay, these are the important points. And linguistic diversity also, you can linguistic and tribal diversity. And then porous borders. These are different points. Okay. So we are not here to discuss the question. I hope you got the direction to write a good answer to such a question. The last main use is about access to justice as primary impediment of justice system. Again, is not anything important. You all know it, that we have enough number of laws, but what is lacking is that access to justice. Many people are not aware of those laws. Even if they're aware, they're not happy with the current judicial system, as the Supreme Court is located in Delhi and India is a big country. Many people living in remote regions, they are not, they find it difficult to travel all the way from their states to Supreme Court. And because Supreme Court is also adopting digitization, there is illiteracy and unawareness. And on top of that, digital illiteracy. Okay, and again, because of India's present judicial system, many cases are pending. Many prisoners in the prisons of India, they are under trials. That means they are not convicts yet. Okay, so this news is, in a way, you can say the traditional area of polity and governance, but because the Chief Justice of India made this statement in Uttarakhand recently, that is why we are going to cover it. Okay, it's okay. It's nice to have a good revision. The recent context is access to justice, India's biggest challenge, not laws. We have enough number of laws, but access, it is access what is creating all sorts of challenges. Citizens face difficulty accessing existing legal systems because we borrowed or inherited this system from the British. That is why the primary language used in the higher judiciary is English. Many people find it difficult to understand. Also, there is a fear for the judicial system itself, which is called black coat syndrome. जो बोलते हैं ना कोर्ट कचहरी जाना भाग दौड़ करना, so people in a way find it very repulsive. Poverty and high legal costs restrict access 75% prisoners under trial due to inability for bail. 75% of the prisoners are under trials. Can you imagine? That means if there are 100 prisoners in the jail, only 25 are convicts. The remaining 75 prisoners are not convicts. They are mere accused. They lack money or they lack awareness. That's why they cannot hire a good advocate who can secure them bail. Remote geography limits physical access to courts. This is particularly with regard to hilly states and hilly regions. Even if there is a high court in each of the major hilly states, but hilly terrains and hilly tracts, they have to be traversed to reach the high court in their capital cities. And once if the case gets transferred to Supreme Court, again it's a big journey or long journey. Inadequate infrastructure and staffing worsen delays. English language, as I mentioned, many people don't understand it. Okay, it sounds very elite also. Legal aid awareness low, implementation remains weak. Black coat syndrome, which is a nice term you can use in your answers. Many people find it difficult to approach courts, even if they're aware of laws. They know that it's going to continue for a long period of time. Some cases take decades to get solved. What are the initiatives taken? Again, a long list of initiatives have been taken. Many of them are present in the Constitution itself, like Article 39A. Okay, free legal aid mandate for those underprivileged people who cannot afford a good lawyer. Article 39A. Legal Services Authorities Act 1987 supports legal aid, which stems from the very article. NALSA, again, free legal service. Lok Adalats promote mediation and quick dispute resolution. So the Supreme Court and High Courts of India also promote extrajudicial settlements. You need not come to the court. Try to solve your disputes outside the court. It is good for you. As you know, court cases take time to get resolved. E-Courts project digitizes judiciary processes. National Judicial Data Grid improves transparency. Fast-track courts. Under trial review committees address prolonged detention, although we have not reached any solution here. Still have 70% under trials. Access to justice project improves. Legal accessibility. One-stop centers support women in distress. Okay, they don't have to run from pillar to post. Women help desks assist gender-sensitive cases. So there is nothing that you will find very difficult to understand. These are simple points, but you have to memorize, starting with the constitutional provisions to the various acts enacted by the central government and other schemes. Now, quick updates. The first one is about whip. Whip is both a position in a political party and an instruction. Okay, and both are related. Whip has two meanings. One is your position in a political party, and the second is instruction. And other political party members who are present in the parliament, they have to follow the instructions. Otherwise, they may be expelled from the political party. And this position is not mentioned in the Indian Constitution. It is based on parliamentary convention and also other political party rule books. But it is a very important office. That means a whip is like a monitor of a political party in the parliament. So class monitor makes sure that there is discipline maintained in the class. Similarly, whips of political parties, they make sure that their members are following the instructions coming from the uh, the leaders of the political parties, because every single member of a political party cannot find place in the parliament. You have to be elected. But it is the whip of a political party who acts as a bridge between the MPs and the political party leaders who are not members of parliament. Whip mandates compulsory attendance of MPs. Special session April 16 to 18. This is related to the BJP issuance of whips, because it expects its members to be present for voting related to the implementation of the 33% reservation. Many political parties are doing that, okay, because it's a big step. So to make sure that each and every BJP member is present, and other political parties also, okay, they have issued whips. Here whips means instructions, okay. Focus implementation of women's quota law requires broad political consensus. Opposition also strategizing its response. So they will also issue whips कि तुमको ये करना है. And if you don't follow your party whip or the whip's instruction sent by your political party, you may be expelled from your party under 1985 defection law, anti-defection law. Okay. Hubble tension, as you know, Hubble space constant is a constant which is related to the rate at which universe is expanding. That means galaxies are moving away from each other, and it is given by this constant h0 or ho. It says that the far away two galaxies are, the faster is the rate at which they are moving away from each other. That means if two galaxies are here and they're moving, the speed is less as compared to these two galaxies which are far away from each other. That means speed, okay, is a function of distance. This is what Hubble, an astrophysicist, said, okay. And this constant has been calculated several times. But there are two different methodologies. One is to look at the present day galaxies, okay, and some nearby celestial bodies. You know how you see, for example, if you put your hand here, you can block something. And then as you see, if something is moving away, your hand won't be able to block it any further, okay. It may move angularly like this, okay. So that is one way. This is a very crude way to tell you how they actually measure it. There is another way also. By trying to record the old cosmic radiations that were released at the time of the Big Bang. Two different methods. One is by looking at the galaxies and nearby objects, and other way is to study the old microwave radiations. Okay. If you use two different methodologies to calculate Hubble constant, the numbers vary. The present day galaxies looking method, it shows it is close to 78, okay, or 75 to 78, and the distance is, I think, meter per second plus megaparsec. You need not bother about the unit. Megaparsec is another way to measure distance between two celestial bodies, very large far away celestial bodies. 1 parsec is equal to 3.26 light years, okay. So what is the tension? The tension is between the two different figures. One by using the direct method, and the other says it's close to 67 to 68, same unit, meter per second per megaparsec. So the difference is nearly 7 to 8. This is the Hubble tension. Why we have two different values? Because we are using two different methods, and both the methods are quite accurate. So we are trying to understand the underlying reason as to why we are having this particular difference. Now recently, a group of scientists, I think Pune-based Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, along with many scientists from across the globe, they used a new methodology using many celestial bodies. They have a network, they share data with each other, and the figure came very close to this one, 73 to 78. It came at around, I think, 74. This was the value. Okay. So that further, it makes it more complicated now. We did not reach any mid value between this method and that method. In a way, we are supporting the first method, looking at distant galaxies and comparing their angular distance from nearby celestial bodies. Using that method, whatever value was obtained, the recent value is also close to that. Okay. So I hope you understood what is Hubble tension. This is what Hubble tension is. If in the prelims exam a question comes, what is Hubble tension? It is basically the difference between the mathematical values of the Hubble space constants which have been calculated using two different methods. That's it. UK pauses plan to cede Chagos Islands. United Kingdom was planning to give away Chagos Islands to Mauritius. Mauritius, you can take back your Chagos Island, because it was a huge controversy. The way Chagos Islands or a group of islands are called archipelago, even the International Court of Justice had said in 2019 that it's very bad. The United Kingdom, what it did to Mauritius by taking away its Chagos Islands, by kicking out the islanders. So as a result, the UK had decided to give back Chagos Islands to Mauritius. It very fairly belongs to Mauritius. Okay. It was going to do that, good step, but United States intervened. UK करने वाला था कि take back your Chagos Islands. US intervened. US said no, we need those islands. They're of strategic importance, especially from the point of view of the Israel-Iran war, because they can use those islands to halt or store their arms and ammunition, their ships and all that. Okay, so UK was planning to give away Chagos Islands except one island which is called Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia, yes, which is a part of the Chagos Island, one of the important islands of Chagos Islands. Chagos is an archipelago which contains or consists of several islands, and one such major island is your Diego Garcia. This particular island was taken on lease by the UK. That means UK had promised to pay a sum to Mauritius and to use it for 99 years. Because the US and UK had their military bases in Diego Garcia. Okay, so now the decision has been paused. UK is not going to give back or transfer the sovereignty of Chagos Islands. Why? Because United States said you cannot do it or cancel the plan. This is the location. Again, it's very close to, I think a couple of days ago we discussed Mauritius. As you can see, if this is Mauritius, Chagos Islands you can see here. Slightly southeast. Okay. This is Chagos, sorry, I'm really sorry. Chagos Islands is northwest of Mauritius. We have magnified this image. Okay. This is your Chagos Island, Mauritius, Reunion Island, and this is your Madagascar. Maldives lies somewhere here. Next is the military exercise between India and Uzbekistan. Dustlik is very easy to remember the name also. Simply, this is the right spelling, but you can make it D-U-Z-Lik. So you will remember immediately that it's Uzbekistan. Okay. So the armed forces of both the countries will take part in mock drills so that their joint operabilities can be improved. Okay. You need not remember anything else. This is important. This much is important. Project Cheetah, again a female cheetah which was brought in from one of the African nations. Okay, 3 African nations have given us cheetahs, because Indian cheetah is extinct. First one is your Namibia. Second is South Africa. Who knows, UPSC may ask a question. And the third recent most is Botswana. Okay. I think Iran said no, because it also has very limited number of cheetahs. Asiatic cheetahs, these are African cheetahs, and one such cheetah has given birth to 4 cubs in Kuno National Park, which is located in Madhya Pradesh. Project Cheetah was introduced in 2022. Okay, so that much is initiative. That much is enough, and it's a central government initiative. I think the National Tiger Conservation Authority. This is the authority which is in charge of Project Cheetah. Okay, cheetah is not tiger, but because it's a very important and a statutory body, so its powers have been widened. Next project, Himsarovar, which I mentioned just 15 minutes ago while discussing climate change and poverty. Ladakh is a region which is water scarce because there is very little rainfall in that region, and the glaciers which are far away again, and water is stored, it's permanently frozen. That is why the government is planning to create artificial glaciers and storage systems to address seasonal water scarcity, because there also there are cultivators, although they don't practice intensive farming like we have in the plains, but still there is a reasonable the region has a reasonable population and it relies upon agriculture. So adaptation initiative project Him Sarovar, remember the name and the region. Last quick update is about aluminium. Aluminium using catalyst in pharma industry. Aluminium is produced in India and it is sourced from bauxite. Okay, bauxite is an oxide ore of aluminium. And Odisha is the largest producer and reserve. It has the largest reserve of bauxite. So pharma industry uses aluminium. It uses different metals which are transition metals for manufacturing drugs. How? Not using these as ingredients but as catalysts. What are catalysts? Catalysts are those chemicals or substances which increase the rate of chemical reactions without taking part in those reactions. Their mere presence is enough to heighten or increase the rate of a chemical reaction. They don't actively take part. Okay. So कैटलिस्ट के तौर पे क्या यूज किया जाता था 3D ग्रुप इफ यू रिमेंबर द पीरियोडिक ग्रुप ऑफ periodic group in chemistry, there are metals called transition metals from group 3 to group 12, okay, like palladium, platinum, gold, okay, and these all metals are 3D metals and these come under transition metals. So elements which were earlier used as catalysts were palladium, platinum. These are very expensive metals and we had to import them. So scientists are saying it's better to use aluminum, which is cheap and easily available in our country. Why to use transition metals? Okay, that's it. So I think we have reached the end, digital current affairs. So again, try to make the most of Visionized digital current affairs, which will help you enrich your knowledge in current affairs. And now 6 questions will flash on your screen. Do take them. Wish you all the very best.